Hello there, my name is RobotDavid11, and today I'll be showing you some of the behind the scenes in Blender. Before I began modeling, I decided to do some of the math because I'm obsessed with realism. Our first variable is the depth of Challenger Deep, which we're assuming is 10,941. On the surface, the pressure is approximately 1 bar. For each 10 meters underwater, it's an additional 1. At our depth, it's 1095.1. Grade 2 titanium has a yield strength of 275 to 415 megapascals. Conveniently, the conversion to bar is very simple. Since our corridor is cylindrical, we have to calculate the maximum hoop stress. The inner radius of our corridor is 3 meters, and the outer radius is 6. This gives us a maximum stress of 2920.3 bar, which might seem good at first since it's greater than titanium's yield strength. However, considering a safety factor of 0.94, this is not ideal. My next thought was to just increase the thickness of the outer radius by 1 meter, but this barely changed the safety factor. That's when I learnt about grade 5 titanium with its yield strength of 8800 bar, which gives us an astonishing safety factor of 3.28. Because it was so large, I decided to scale it back down to 6 meters. Now in case you couldn't tell, I'm not actually an engineer, and so I have no idea if my numbers are correct, but it's the effort that counts. Anyways, modeling the corridor is a lot simpler. The first thing I did was add a cylinder, and I decided to make it 15 meters long. Next, to make it hollow, I selected both ends and inserted a new face in the middle. And by deleting them, I created an opening. Now it's a little bit too hollow, and so to make it less hollow, I had to fill it in. But not too much, because then it would be too not hollow. At this stage, it looked like a low poly roll of toilet paper, which is a good sign. I spent a few minutes experimenting with the material, and I eventually reached this result, which I quite like. Now, since it's a corridor, it needs to be a little bit flat on the sides. And so to achieve this, I got a cube and hollowed it out in the same way as the cylinder. This caused a little bit of Z fighting, but considering how the corridors will be arranged, this wouldn't be an issue in the final render. I will also eventually add some texture to the interior. The final thing I did was subdivide one of the ends. I need the extra geometry to be able to add sculpting, and the sculpting is so that I can add weld marks to the end. I'm pretty happy with how it turned out. And after all that, this is the finished result. I hope you found this video interesting, and I'll see you next week.